UFC 303 has just taken place, and today I will be going over every single fight that happened on the card. It was a decent card, big pay-per-view card. That was meant to be the Conor McGregor fight, which didn't go down, and they found some good replacements. But it seemed like from the start, this card was just doomed to fall apart, really, because if we look at all the pullouts through this card, it's got to break some records. It's crazy. We had Jamal Hill, Khalil Roundtree cancelled, Conor Chandler cancelled, then Jamal Allberg cancelled, then Anthony Smith Allberg cancelled, then last minute Brian Ortega, Diego Lopez cancelled, and I'm sure there was some other fights that were rumoured to be on this card that couldn't take place in the end. But we're not here to talk about that. We are here to talk about the fights that did take place, and that is what I will be doing. So getting into it first, Ricky Simón against Vinicius Oliveira. Really bit of a strange and awkward fight. A fight I did enjoy. Good one to open the card. Vinicius Oliveira with a massive win. Only his second fight in the UFC, coming in and beating someone like Ricky Simón. So impressive that he's able to do that. And really, it just looked like he had Simón second guessing himself the whole time. The leg kicks were causing big problems, especially in that first round, and the sort of awkward style and the movement of Vinicius Oliveira as well was the main thing that was really causing all the problems. Ricky Simón never really looked to get going. In my opinion, he had to bite down on his mouthpiece and try push the pace a bit more, try and dictate what pace the fight is going to go, and that is usually what he does. I thought I did pick Ricky Simón just because I thought with all the wrestling Vinicius Oliveira showed to maybe have a weakness of that in his first fight, but didn't look like it here. Perfect takedown defense throughout the fight. Maybe taking down twice. Not really any control time. Even getting a takedown of his own as well. Landing way more strikes. There was the moment in the second round where Oliveira did kick Simón's leg, and it looked like he really hurt himself, but recovered really well. Has some really interesting combinations. We saw sort of like the if you like football, you'll know what this means. The sort of Rabona kick to the knee, and then up to the head kick as well. Just sort of these awkward sort of things that he does, and it's kind of with that Brazilian style that it brings. They're very creative in their kind of like capoeira style, which it's always entertaining to see. Massive win for Vinicius Oliveira. He'll fight someone pretty high up in the rankings now, if you're going to be honest, because Ricky Simón, not that long ago, he's main eventing against Song Yadong, just lost to Mauro Bautista as well, so maybe that's a fight we could do. Vinicius Oliveira might have even looked better against Simón than Bautista did. But really good performance from Vinicius Oliveira. Getting on to the next one, we have Rai Tashora versus Carlos Hernandez. Tashora, really young kid. I think this fight was on short notice, and overall, it was the grappling that was the sort of main attention catcher in this one. Rolling for knee bars a couple times, really looking for that twister, pushing the pace. First two rounds, he looked dominant. He, being only 22 years old, he needs to work a lot on the feet. And coming into this one, it did look like he did that. Kind of really better understanding of sort of distance management than he did on the road to the UFC. We saw that he was able to land some good jabs, looking decent on the feet, and anytime he went for the takedown in those first two rounds, just looks like an absolute monster on the ground. So overall, great performance from him. Really versatile. Got loads of different weapons when it does get to the ground. He really seems really good with the legs when they get involved. Going for twisters, sort of really good at controlling the body, getting his body locks in, and really dominant performance until it got to that third round where Carlos Hernandez was really able to start coming back into the fight. Tashora, being so young, probably not the most experienced to get him through these sort of moments where you're fighting at such a high pace. The scrambles in this were insane. Carlos Hernandez is not a bad grappler himself. For a guy with a record of 9-4, he did not look bad, and made Tashora work a hell of a lot, and you saw it in that third round. And not really coming close to finishing Tashora, but really sort of coming back into the fight. And if that was a 5-round fight, it might have been a whole different decision. Rai Tashora, really good prospect. Nasty jiu-jitsu, a guy to keep your eye on for sure if you're looking at sort of these young prospects coming up, see who could be the next sort of ranked guy. Getting on to the next one. This one, there's really not a lot to say on it. I think Andrei Arlovski could have got the decision maybe against Martin Bidet. Both of these guys, probably, let's be real, aren't UFC quality fighters. I think Andrei Arlovski's finally left now, so I think that means Stipe hasn't beat anyone on the UFC roster. I think I saw that somewhere, which, you know, Stipe's pretty much retired himself too, so I don't even know why people are bringing that up now. But Martin Buday, most of this fight, let's be real, just both had single collar tie clinches, just holding each other, kind of landing shots to the body. They probably just able to get the win, did land some better knees and stuff from in the clinch, but really that is literally I don't even want to talk about that fight. I was just going to skip over this one, but I will give my thoughts. Yeah, not great. Andrei Arlovski could have picked up the win maybe. He just was way too much on the back foot early on. I mean, when was the last time Andrei Arlovski had a good fight, like an entertaining fight? So I think he does kind of just rely on his footwork to beat a lot of those just fat overweight heavyweights these days. And he did look to do that again here, but Martin Buday maybe able to make it dirty. And maybe he took some of those tips from Gazaev after fighting him, because that was a Gazaev type fight if I've ever seen one before. Going on to the next one, Michelle Waterson Gomez against Gillian Robertson. I did think Michelle Waterson would be good enough not to get taken down. Gillian Robertson has shown to struggle against a lot of these sort of strikers who, if you can even kind of defend a takedown, Gillian Robertson struggled to get people down, but not in this one. Absolute dominant performance. On the scorecards, I think it was 30-26. Some of them made that. I think there could have even been a 30-25. There could have been two 10-8s in there, which maybe would have been the first time in a 3-round fight, 30-25. I'm not sure, but absolute crazy from Gillian Robertson, how dominant it was. Really just, I mean, you see Michelle Waterson's face afterwards, the damage she was able to put onto her, and just from start to finish, every takedown she shot, she only got 2 takedowns and she spent the whole fight on top pretty much. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that one. Gillian Robertson, really impressive. She's getting a lot better. I feel like since she submitted Rose in that grappling match a couple years ago, we have seen a sort of elevation in Gillian Robertson's game. She's on, you know, she beat Pauliana Viviana last fight, then lost to Tabitha Ricci, which isn't a bad loss. Tabitha Ricci, a really good fighter. And before that, she was, you know, she was on a bit of a win streak herself too. So in her last 5 fights, she's only lost 1. On a good run, Gillian Robertson now, so I think step into the rankings would make sense for her after such dominant performance like that. Going on to the next one of the hottest prospects in the sport right now. You can question, you know, some of the things he does outside the octagon maybe, but you can't question what he does inside the octagon. And Peyton Talbot is an absolute killer, you know. If I was any high-ranked guy in that division right now, I would not be wanting to fight this dude, because he sets things up so well. He's so creative. And the knockout he's able to produce as well. I mean, Cameron Simon is such a beast, and the beating he put on him. And then Yanis Gamori, you know, he's a good kicker. Some people did think Peyton Talbot, you know, he can get caught with some big shots. And if that is the case, maybe he can get hit with a head kick or something, but it was never going to happen. He did a thing on YouTube himself where it's like showing Yanis Gamori how to beat him, and he was saying you got to use the inside leg kicks, and he actually timed it perfectly. Inside leg kick, straight 1-2 down the middle, brutal knockout, out cold. And it got stopped a few seconds late too, so really that's like a 14-second knockout for Peyton Talbot on an absolute roll. He called out, I think, Adrian Yanez and Cody Garbrandt, which is good. I think I'd rather see him fight Cody Garbrandt, because let's be real, Yanez is coming off a couple really hard losses apart from that Salvador win, which I mean, I don't even really count that win, to be honest. It's a flyweight coming up, and he was getting chinned at flyweight, and he comes up and tries to fight Adrian Yanez. It was never going to go well. Peyton Talbot, I think he'd put an end to Adrian Yanez's hype if he's even looking to rebuild that now, and that's just not a good sort of move for UFC. Adrian Yanez got draw a lot of hype after beating Tony Kelly, and that was on a main card of a pay-per-view event, if I remember correctly, and there's a lot of hype around him, so Peyton Talbot would just destroy that again. Like Cody Garbrandt, coming off a loss, still wants to prove he's one of the best in the world. I got a bit of a cold, sorry, but still wants to prove he's one of the best in the world. And, you know, if you want to do that, then you got to take out some young killers, and if he can beat Peyton Talbot, then he'll gain a lot of respect back from the MMA community. I don't think he would beat Peyton Talbot. I think Peyton Talbot beats Yanez and Cody Garbrandt, but I think that's probably the next fight to make, is Peyton Talbot, Cody Garbrandt. So yeah, got himself a big fight after such an impressive last 2 performances. And really, I think it didn't look like he had massive finishing power when he first came in through Contender Series, but now really looks like he's going to start finishing everybody who fights. Going on to the next one, Charles Jourdain against Gene Silva. Really, really like this Gene Silva dude. He's an absolute beast, and he sort of brings a strange sort of energy, because first round, Jourdain's doing really good with the kicks, almost landing a couple really nasty head kicks that were in there that Gene Silva just managed to sort of slip out the way in Matrix style. And every time Jourdain landed something good, Gene Silva would applaud it and give him high fives and stuff. And I get, yeah, fair enough, you got respect for each other, but if a motherfucker's trying to high five me every 5 minutes, every 5 seconds while I'm in a fight, I'm gonna fake it and punch him in the face afterwards after a while, because, if not, a knockout like this could happen. You get too comfortable with someone. Gene Silva delivers a brutal knockout in the second round, sort of coming out of the clinch. Just looked like, Charles Jourdain, I don't know if he's ever been finished like that on the feet. Off the top of my memory, I don't know if he's ever been finished in the UFC, maybe from submissions, but yeah, overall, really, really dangerous fighter Gene Silva is, coming off that clinch, nasty uppercut sort of holding the back of his head. Missed weight by 3 pounds, which I really don't like, and I just think, could Jourdain maybe took a couple of shots better if he didn't miss weight, and he did look a lot bigger and more powerful than Charles Jourdain. I do feel sorry for Jourdain, because he's kind of just been such an up and down fighter his whole career, but he is really good. He's had a couple of really close fights, like the Andre Fili one, and this is just, it's struggling. I think he's on a 2-fight loss streak now, so the next one for him is really important. And he's always been kind of a fighter that skids off and comes back up, but this featherweight division just getting so stacked now. There's just so many ways to beat Charles Jourdain. He needs to sharpen up his game a bit, but that is not a way that people thought you can beat Charles Jourdain, and Gene Silva ran through him in the end pretty easily, knocked him down, and then had him backing up since then, and knocked him out brutally with the uppercut. So yeah, Charles Jourdain, really hard loss for him. Gene Silva looks like a really good prospect, but needs to make weight. You can't be missing weight like that. Going on to the next one. This one pissed me off, if I'm honest. Cub Swanson, Andre Fili. I think Andre Fili maybe he's been chinned a couple too many times, and now I don't know how willing he is to really fight, because let's be real, Cub Swanson seemed like, in my opinion anyway, I haven't seen too many people really slating Andre Fili for this performance. Maybe that's because he's coming off such a brutal knockout not that long ago. But Cub Swanson going forward the whole time, landing bigger shots. I don't know how the fuck you can give that fight to Andre Fili, to be honest. Yeah, he was landing shots, but the commentary get just glazing Andre Fili. I don't know what they were watching. I don't know how many people are even screaming robbery on this. I'm doing this video on the Wednesday from the card, and I've seen most people think Cub Swanson won, but I get, if nothing much is happening in the fight, they were both only landing about 20 shots on average a round. If nothing's happening, you got to start counting the one who really is looking to go forward, and even if they're not hitting you with these massive strikes, which Cub, he did stun Fili a couple times too. He was the only one there who was really going for a knockout, and I think that does have to count for something if the fight, where if one's running away the whole time and not looking to engage, and he's not getting hit or not really hitting the other guy because of that, then what are you going to start scoring? I know they go then to, after damage, I'm not sure what the highest scoring sort of point in the point system is. I need to do more research on that. To be honest, any time I'm scoring a fight, I just look at who does the actual more damage, and that is usually what they go on. And that's why I thought Cub Swanson took this pretty comfortably. I gave him, I think, the first and the third round, if I remember correctly. And just really gutted Cub. Still at 40 years old, such a high level fighter, can still fight anyone. Beating Dawodu in his last fight, that's a massive win. Although, I don't think he beat Dawodu, and what comes around goes around. So Andre Fili gets the win in this one. I will talk a bit about Andre Fili's performance and what he did do well, because it just sounds like a shat on him for 2 minutes there. But he was on the back foot, was able to sort of stifle out a lot of Cub Swanson's big attacks, because Cub Swanson's such an awkward fighter. He sort of looks to burst in blitzes and really throws everything into his shots, his kicks, and he was doing that. And Andre Fili was able to land a lot of good stuff on the clinch. They really started getting the jab going later towards the end of the fight, and that's what won him the fight. He was on the back foot, sort of picking points more than really looking for big shots, and Cub couldn't really get on the inside too much and land his big shots. So that is why Andre Fili won the fight. Now, getting on To the next one, Francis Ngannou against Marc-Andre Barriault, the hardest hitter in the world. Oh no, sorry, his name's Joe Pyfer. Joe Pyfer, the hardest hitter in the world. Really got to show his power in this one. Looked terrible last time out against Manson. I did pick first round knockout for Joe Pyfer. Barriault was just a bit too willing and too easy to hit. You know, to beat Pyfer, you got to stay on the outside, kick the legs. That's what Hermansson showed. And if you're really willing to stand in the pocket and trade with him, and being someone like Marc-Andre Barriault, who isn't the highest level fighter, he was always going to breeze him, and it was a brutal knockout. I was really doubting Pyfer's power. I thought it was just bollocks, but you know, clearly does hit very hard, because that shot wasn't too clean. He hit him with a right hand that really wobbled him first, and then sort of a barrage of hooks. And he caught him like behind the head. A lot of people saying that's illegal. In MMA, it's not illegal necessarily. If you're trying to punch someone in the back of the head, then yeah, that's illegal. But if a shot wraps around the back of your head, how many times do we see a kick wrap round and hit someone in the back of the head? You know, you can't do nothing about it sometimes, and that's what happened. Hits him in the back of the head and goes stiff, flat, face first, brutal knockout. Really needed that one on this card, and there was. To be fair, no, the prelims were good. 3 brutal knockouts on the prelims. This card was actually better than I remember. Like, after it ended, I thought like Alex Pereira saved the card, which, you know, he did, but there was some other really good fights. The main card, for me, just terrible. And getting on to the main card, I picked MVP, Ian Machado Gary. I find it hard to dislike someone more than I do him. And for me, with Ian Gary, it's not a hatred for Ian Gary. It's more like how much he just annoys me. You know, there's just some people that I just don't even know how to explain it. It's the Neil Magny thing for me. I've gone on about it so much times on this channel. So yeah, the Neil Magny thing really pissed me off. And then just like, he just sounds like such a spoiled little brat most of the time, to be honest. Like, he really just seems like he's had a silver spoon. I'm not sure if he has, but you know, just he's a bit wanky, which is annoying. And that even comes down to like the way he talks in the press conference when he's saying he's a new generation striker. We've never seen it before. You know, he's got striking us on a new level to all these fighters we've seen in the UFC, and it comes out to it, and he is so scared of MVP. Like, you can see on his face as soon as that fight starts on the feet, MVP's bouncing. He does not even want to throw a strike, and that was evident. And you know, a lot of people are going to sit here and chat shit about Ian Gary's performance, where I won't do that, because what do you want Ian Gary to do at the end of the day? If he stood with MVP for 3 rounds, he would have got knocked out. There was no doubt in my mind that MVP knocks Ian Gary out on the feet. So he turned into, you know, one of his Brazilian friends that he's training with. I don't know. Shouting at Oliveira, chatting to Gilbert Burns, couldn't even sink in a rear naked choke against MVP when it was so easy. And you know, everyone's been saying it's the vegan diet, and I agree, it must be. If he had eaten a steak that same day, I guarantee you he locks in that rear naked choke and puts MVP to sleep. But overall, you know, was it a good performance? It was a bit of a shitty performance from Ian Gary, but he did what he had to do to win. And then, you know, that's all you can do in this sport, really. If you want to be the best in the world, a champion, which Ian Gary, let's be real, he does have the ability to do that. I do rate Ian Gary highly as a fighter, but he was just kidding himself and everyone. I do think he thought he could go out there and knock MVP out, but we saw in the second round MVP having a lot of success on the feet. Ian Gary wasn't even half as quick as MVP, which he was saying, you know, MVP, he's going to be shocked, I'm going to be way too fast for MVP, which just sounds ridiculous. Like, he's so deluded saying that sort of stuff. And he realised it very quick in that first round. Catches a kick, takes him down, takes his back, controls the rest of the round, gets pieced up in the second. And MVP, you know, he's got an opportunity to win this fight, because Ian Gary gets hit with a right hand from one of MVP's blitzes and shits himself so badly that he just grabs MVP and pulls guard and just accepts bottom position and shuts off he closes guard, doesn't open butterfly hooks or nothing. I think he might have been willing just to lay on bottom and hope somehow he won the fight for the rest of the round. But MVP, you know, he's not really that type of guy. He let it stand back up and thought, all right, you know, last couple minutes of this fight, let's give the fans what they want. This striking match that was promised. These 2 great strikers, 2 of the best strikers in the world, apparently. MVP doesn't do that, takes his back again, holds on. MVP has 0 jiu-jitsu. there's blue belt. He's blue belt level. You know, there's people in the jiu-jitsu gym where I live that would probably submit MVP. I'm not even gonna lie. Well, no, there is definitely people that would submit MVP in the jiu-jitsu gym near me, and yeah, he is just too late in MVP's career where he can really improve on that, and that's why I think they gave him the Ian Gary fight, because the UFC expected him to just stand with Ian Gary. But I'm not sure how many people MVP can really beat in the UFC. Just on the feet, he could probably knock out most of the welterweights. Maybe get up to like until you start talking about the Jack Della Maddalena's, like stuff like that. That's the sort of level he can get to on the feet, in my opinion. Maybe beat some of those guys. Him and Leon Edwards would be very good striking match, but all these guys would take him down. I think even Jack Della Maddalena could probably take him down. I don't know how Kevin Holland didn't submit him, because Kevin Holland's got good jiu-jitsu. And yeah, Ian Gary doesn't, clearly. So yeah, going on to the next one, I am just bored of that fight. I don't know how I spent that was honestly such a terrible fight, and that was one of the ones I tweeted just before this, the fight I'm most looking forward to on the card. But you know, Ian Gary, you can't have nice things in life all the time, and Ian Gary definitely isn't one of the nice things in the UFC fans' life. Mayra Bueno Silva and Macy Chiasson, annoyingly, I went down and started cleaning the kitchen when this happening. You know, everyone jokes it's time for a piss break when a fight like this is kind of on the card, and I took that seriously, and I went and didn't see the fight. I've watched it back, and it was a really good fight. I just managed to catch the elbow finish at the end of the second round. Well, halfway through the second round, but first round, really exciting. Mayra Bueno Silva landing some really nice head kicks, damaging uppercuts from the clinch. She's a really good fighter, to be fair to her, Mayra Bueno Silva. Macy Chiasson has improved so much, and I was so close to picking Chiasson in this one. I did go Mayra Bueno Silva by sub, I'm pretty sure, but Chiasson managing to get the trip in the second round, landing a brutal elbow, and you know, I think a cut, yeah, it's annoying when they stop it due to a cut, because sometimes I just think if it gets really bad, they signed up for this, you know. So what if they can't see and they get knocked out because of it? Because that's what they're signing up for. When you sign the contract to fight a UFC fight, you can expect to get knocked out, and just because there's a cut sort of impairing your vision, or it could cause long-term damage. But when you see it, if that carries on, she's going to have her eyebrow ripped off. That was so bad. Bad gash. I understand why it stopped. I'm not going to sit here and complain about it. Macy Chiasson now going to have a really big fight, but at the end of the day, it just doesn't matter, because Kyla Harrison is just going to smoke everyone in that division, and she'll be champ real soon anyway. So maybe you could do Chiasson versus Penna. If Penna's not fighting for the belt, I don't really know what's happening with that. I don't really care what's happening with that, to be honest, because we're all just sat here patiently waiting for Kyla Harrison to win that title on that one. And getting on to the next one, possibly two of the worst fighters in the UFC. Oh, that's a joke, they're both ranked. But two people that I just never want to see fight again. Roman Dolidze is a great jiu-jitsu artist, although he's only got one submission in his whole career, which my friend told me the other day, and I was shocked, because everyone just talks about this guy's jiu-jitsu. And now getting on to the point where he is outstriking Anthony Smith on the feet. Oh God, it was hard to watch. I'm a big fan of Believe You Me. I will never be believing in Anthony Smith again, that's for sure. I will never pick Anthony Smith to win a fight. I picked him in this one. Did I pick him in the Petrino one? But I was picking Anthony Smith a lot when he was on the skid of just getting battered by everyone. And, you know, I thought, you know, getting the big win against Petrino, Roman Dolidze might be the worst stand-up fight I've ever seen in my life. And, yeah, he just could not land. And I think Anthony Smith thinks he's sick. I don't know, doing all these little Muay Thai moves out there, like bouncing at the front leg, and I don't know what it's doing. Just shoot. I'd start shooting. Just start doing something, because he just stands up, tries to look busy, and thinks he can win a fight due to that. Unless you jump into a triangle like Devin Clark, or jump into a guillotine like Victor Petrino, I don't know how Anthony Smith gets wins anymore. So I don't know what to do. Any of these guys could fight Dominic Reyes. I think Dominic Reyes called it out. I don't really, like, the fight was just terrible. And Roman Dolidze, how many opportunities he leaves on the feet where he just swings his head out of the way of shots. It does not take a high level striker. Like Anthony Smith a few years ago would have been catching him and making him pay. So I do think it's time for Anthony Smith to retire. Big up for them both, taking the fight, I think, on 2 weeks' notice, really helping to put another big fight on this card. But the retirement's got to be coming soon for Smith, because if he fights Carlos Ulberg or Dominic Reyes, I think he will get absolutely battered and like really badly knocked out by either of them, in my opinion. So yeah, we'll see what he does next. I think Reyes, I think he's probably going to fight Reyes, and I think Reyes will smoke him inside 2 rounds. So yeah, we'll see about that one. Dan Ige, Diego Lopez. Before I get into this fight, I think Dan Ige deserves a special mention. He is an absolute legend. Fighters aren't bred like him anymore. You don't get fighters in this sport where, I think it was 9 p.m. for him when he accepted the fight. He was probably getting ready for bed, probably had the card on in his room or some shit like that. Lives a few hours away. Brian Ortega gets sick. I don't know what's going on with Brian Ortega, to be honest. People saying that he should get cut. I don't know about that. Some people get ill. Apparently he had a fever of like 103 or something. And yeah, it's just a real hard one because he missed weight. He basically shafted Diego Lopez. Diego Lopez weighed in, and then he got a phone call afterwards saying if they could fight the weight class above. So he already done his job, and basically just so Ortega didn't get fined, he accepted anyway, Diego Lopez, and then had to fight Dan Ige weighing at 165, which is just crazy. And that's why Dan Ige, you can't really say. None of the hype is gone for Diego Lopez for me, because that's just so many different style changes and stuff he was going through for all this. And then to fight a guy on 4 hours notice, big up to Diego Lopez as well, but Danny Ige, absolute legend. And loses the first 2 rounds quite badly. First round, he's getting pieced up. Anytime he was sort of stepping in, Diego Lopez is throwing those fast, powerful hooks. Danny Ige is a really good technical boxer, so he's able to slip a lot of the big shots and kind of catch a lot of them on the forearms and stuff. But it was a takedown in the end of the first, I think. And then Lopez was... You can see how nasty Lopez on the ground. He's a finisher wherever the fight goes. Locks up a Das, locks up like a guillotine. Danny Ige able to survive the first 2 and then really starts piecing up Diego Lopez in the 3rd round. Lopez eats a clean head kick, and then Danny Ige gets on top and finishes it with ground and pound. If this was a 5-round fight, I think Danny Ige would have won this fight. Clearly, but Danny Ige deserves a big fight. Diego Lopez deserves another big fight. Both of these guys just get more credibility from this. And going on to the main event, the big one, Alex Pereira, my favourite fighter in any sport right now. If we talk about Muay Thai, if we talk about boxing, if we talk about MMA, he is the guy right now. He is saving the UFC's ass so much. And he does it again, taking this fight 2 weeks notice, broken. I swear every toe on his foot is broken at this point, I swear. And I was telling people, stop picking against Alex Pereira. If people are going to strike with this guy, they will lose. Even at heavyweight, he'll beat Tom, he'll beat John if they decide to strike with him. There was a lot of people still picking Yuri, a lot of people. And I said it perfectly before the fight. If you give Alex Pereira a second chance, and especially from Yuri doing so good in the first fight in the feet because of his awkward style, Alex Pereira's not going to forget about that, and you're not going to start letting you hit him with those same shots. And Yuri came out there and tried. Alex Pereira's takedown offense is getting so much better, you can see. And he managed to stop every takedown. He was countering takedowns with hard jabs to the body. Any time Yuri would even level change, he loves a flying knee, we know that, maybe to signal that he's going to throw something like that out or shoot for a takedown, Alex Pereira would dip with him and jab really hard to the chest. Sometimes it would kind of hit to like the upper neck area, hit him clean in the face a couple times, even stunned him a little bit in the first round due to it. Drops him with a massive left hook. Well, I say massive, it doesn't even look like he tries to hit you hard with those left hooks, but hits him with a clean left hook, drops him bad at the end of the round, and the fight was done there. Comes out, hits him with a nasty switch kick, and Alex Pereira now being pound for pound ranked number 2 in the world, above John Jones, Dana White. Cry your heart out, is that a saying? I think that's the saying, cry your heart out. I am going to be making a video as well about Dana White and just some of the stuff he's just glazing John Jones, the guy that's almost ruined your company. I'm going to make a video about my overall thoughts on Dana White and how he deals with some situations. But Alex Pereira, he should just get all the praise, get any fight he wants. If he wants to go to heavyweight, let him. I really want to see him knock out Ankalaev first, so I'm more inclined to just wait around, fight Ankalaev. All you have to do is just stop stop a few takedowns and you're going to knock him out at the end of the day. It's not going to be hard. I really think Alex Pereira will make that fight look reasonably easy and finish him within 3 rounds. He will get taken down. Ankalaev never submitted anyone in his career. Alex Pereira has been training with Glover for so long now. He's going to be okay on the ground. I'm so confident he'll beat Ankalaev. And, it might be a bit biased just because how much I love Alex Pereira. He could go out and just get grappled 5 rounds. But if you haven't, please go back and watch that Jan Blachowicz fight. Blachowicz, is a better grappler than Alex. He's stuffing takedowns. He destroys Ankalaev's legs. And, we know how good Alex Pereira's leg kicks are. So I'm pretty confident Alex Pereira's going to find a knockout in his next fight against Ankalaev. And then I think they'll probably do the Tom Aspinall fight just because, we've seen how much backlash the UFC and Dana White have got for sticking with the Stipe Miocic John Jones fight. And if you let Alex Pereira skip over Tom Aspinall and fight for the heavyweight title, that will be a real awkward one to go down, maybe just from the British fans though. So I think everyone else will be pretty happy. And to be honest, I want to see Alex Pereira win that 3rd title, even if it is against Tom. And people can slate me flat because I'm English. Tom will be back. Tom's the best heavyweight in the world. Alex Pereira, if he beats Tom, is just going to be catching him with a left hook just in the first few seconds where the fight's starting. If Tom decides to grapple, the fight will be over very quick. I just want to see history be made. Alex Pereira deserves it. He will forever be a legend in this sport. He will go down as one of the best fighters of all time. He's only had 8 UFC fights, so that just shows the sort of everyone's using the word aura, but the aura Alex Pereira has, I think it's starting to get to other fighters that he fights, and just the pure skill and destruction he brings to the sport is why he will be considered one of the best fighters of all time when he retires. I hope you enjoyed this video. First one in a few weeks. I'm really bad at this. I hope to get better. So a bit more consistency, and we'll be back tomorrow with another video.